In this video, I'm gonna show you how I lay out petal number 50 in my Cricut Design Space. Uh, this petal design is a new design coming from the Crafty Sagittarius, and there are two different ways on how you can make flowers out of this petal design. The first one is the regular flower, which has one sheet in every no there are 6 pieces in every layer, and each of it has only one sheet. And there's also the other one, which is the dual tone, that each petal has two different contrasting layer on it. So let's start with layouting it on a regular paper flower, and let's gonna start with changing the color to a little bit more pleasing to the eyes, might be. So let's change it to the cactus pink. So as you can see, we already changed the color. You will just have to click this round thing next to the scissor here on your right panel, and it will change to, you can select all the colors you want and also extra here if you need to. So now that we are having our petal change in color, we can now then layer this into our intention sizes, what we wanted to cut. So as you can see, this is quite big to cut into our normal paper, which is 8.5 by 11. So what we're going to do is to do not touch this to keep the proportion intact. So do not unlock it. That's what I was trying to say. And you can just drag this one big or small without losing its right proportion. So what I'm trying to do is reducing it up to 8 inches width, because our paper is only 8.5. So that's gonna be our largest petal, and then we can duplicate it. By the way, on this layout, I'm trying to make a large size flower. So before anything else, before I will forget, I'm gonna duplicate this so that we will have a copy of what original size is, and I am hiding it here. As you can see, this eyes, you'll just close it and then you can hide it. So if we are trying to make a large flower, basically my large flower has 4 layers on it. So in this one, we're going to create 4 layers for our large flower. So making it sure that the distance or the sizes of the interval of your petals are close to perfect and equal. So now here we are, we have 4 layers. Now we are going to arrange it. So since we stretch out our large petal, we are not going to I'm not sure, let's try if we can sneak this small petal here. Not gonna work. So let's go back, undo until it gets up and straight. So we're going to cut this one in one entire 8.5 by 11 sheets, and let's try to hide it, and let's work onto the remaining petals. So with the remaining petals, we are layouting the second petal and the 4th petal together, so that we can trying to conserve paper sheets. So because we're trying to cut this one together, what we're going to do to ensure that they will really cut together is to select those two and click attach down in this panel here. So see, you can detach, and then you can select again if you want to attach, and we hide it so that we will continue in layouting the remaining sheets that we have. So let's go back to, no, we still have this one last piece. What we're going to do is to also duplicate it and flip it vertical so that we will have two the same size of petal in one sheet, and then select it together and click attach. So now let me explain it to you here. So this is gonna be our largest petal, and because this is the largest and there's only one in one sheet, we need to have 6 sheets of paper for this size. So the second one, let me go back. So, and as you can see, the layout of this petal, obviously you're going to lay out your paper also in your mat vertically, so in upright position. So when we go to the second layer, which has the second petal and the fourth petal, we should lay out our paper vertically because it's laying vertically too, and it would ensure that we would really cut our petals correctly. So here we have the second and the fourth petal, and also we're going to cut 6 pieces or 6 sheets of cardstock for this one. Now for the third layer, since we have the same petal size and we need 6 pieces, we're only gonna cut 3 sheets of cardstock for it. So all in all, for this entire large paper or large flower, we're gonna consume 15 for the petals alone and maybe some for your center. So 15 sheets of paper that you will consume for the large size of this flower. So we're gonna make it all visible, and we're gonna select everything and group it so that we would know that this layout is for large flower, and then you can ungroup it later if you are working on it. But before saving it, you know, you already have the idea on how you are going to make this work a large flower. So let's hide this and collapse the group so that we would only be focusing into our next size, which is the medium. So what I was trying to do is the original, I just duplicate it, and I'm gonna be working with a duplicate. So now what we're going to do is to make a medium size flower which has 3 layers on it. So what we're going to do is to create 3 layers. 1, 2, and 3 layers. So obviously my aim here is to fit all 3 petals in 1 sheet of paper so that we will only use 6 sheets of cardstock to make a medium size. But obviously this would not fit. So what we're going to do is to select all without touching the lock. We're going to reduce the size altogether, as you can see, and we're going to lay it out in vertically into our cardstock. So before anything else, let's see. Let's pretend that there's an imaginary cardstock here. So let's make it purple so that you will really see it. So a cardstock would be 8.5 vertically 8.5 by 11. So that's our ideal cardstock size. But to make it safe, we're going to reduce it to 8.25 by 10.75. So that's gonna be our safe zone here. So this is where we're going to lay out our cardstock so that we will know that it would certainly fit into our paper. So let's hide this one for a minute. That's gonna be how we're going to lay out our paper. So let's start working on how to fit this one obviously into our cardstock. So basically I'm just turning around, trying to find the best spot that it can really try to utilize the space of our cardstock. So let's see what I can come up here. So I think we made it. I'm just tweaking it, and we're going to select all together and click attach. So let's see if this one will fit into our paper. So that's our imaginary paper, so it fits perfectly with a little bit very tight allowance. But anyway, this size, the 8.25 by 10.75, that's gonna be our safe space. So it fits, meaning to say we're good in cutting 6 sheets of this one and create a medium size of paper flower. So because this one is a medium, different size, let's change this to different color also. And so it would be easier for us later to determine or to get, oh, this is the color that, oh, this is, blue is my medium. You should have like a color code of your workplace before you're trying to save it to your design space. So we put our large as peach, or the like a corally, yeah, a peach, and then we're trying to make our medium as dusty blue. Now let's work on into our small paper flower. And what I'm trying to do is with the original, just duplicate it again. And with a small paper flower, I only have 2 layers on it. So our aim here is to fit this petals, 2 petals in I mean 2 sets of these small petals in one 8.5 by 11 sheets. So what I'm trying to do, I'm gonna flap this out so that I can conserve some space to literally just scooch this closer as much as I can. And I'm going to select it and duplicate. Or what we can do also is to flip this one horizontally, and we can move this also move this and move this one. So basically it's still so big when we're going to open our cardstock. Let's twist it to 90 degrees so that it will become upright. So this is gonna be how we're going to lay out our paper for the small sheets. And as you can see, our layout is still way big than what we wanted it to be. So what we're going to do, hide the paper first, and then select all, and then move to the line where your 10.5 is safe, and also your 8.25. So once you reach that exact line there, you can then go ahead and attach it. So you can then, let's see if our paper would fit. Basically, it's perfect length. So we can safely cut this one into our 8.5 by 11 paper. So because we need 6 pieces of this petals, we're going to cut 3 sheets of cardstock to make a small rose. So not too bad for this small size paper that would gonna be most likely 9 to 10 inches in diameter. So we're also gonna change this one in color, and let's see, maybe yellow. Yeah. So now we have our large. As you can see here, we have our medium all laid out and ready for us to cut whenever we want, and we have our small. So before anything else, just save it and label it Petal 50, and then it's gonna be shown to your design space when you go to your project. So before we're gonna exit this one, I'm gonna show you how I lay out this in 12 by 12 cardstock, so that we will be able to make a dual tone paper. So let's have this one, the original, and again duplicate it. So as again in dual tone, there will gonna be 2 layers that we're gonna be working onto our flower. So this is the first tone, and then let's see, for example, this is the second tone, or your frontal tone. Let me see. So I'm changing the color so that we can identify that this is a dual tone. What we're going to do is just to reduce the size like so, and that's how our petal gonna look like, when we assemble it. So this area here is what really makes it very interesting. So how are we going to achieve this tone in 3 layers using 12 by 12 paper and keep the proportion intact? So let's close this, and what we're going to do is to layer this with 3 petals, because we're going to need 3 layers anyway. So 3, this is 2 layers, and again duplicate the thing and reduce the size so that we will have 3 layers. So as you can see, we have 3 layers here now. And let's imagine that we will have a cardstock also, which is a 12 by 12. But keep it in a safe zone, which is 11 by 11.5 by 11.5. So let's change the color into blue so that it would identify that it's our cardstock, and click it and move it, send it to the back. So we can see when we lay out our paper later if it really suits or not to our safe zone. So let's hide this one for a minute, and then now we're going to tweak a little bit our petals so that we can really fit this one in a 12 by 12. So as you can see, we are way exceeding it. We are in 12.5 by 13.75. So let's try doing it this way. So it's only like a matter of trial and error on how you are going to uh, align your petals so that you will use and maximize your uh, paper usage on it. So we're going to select all. I think that's gonna be the best that we can do. Still, it's not enough. We're going to reduce uh, the size to 11.5. So let's all click it and then click attach. So let's see if it will fit into our 12 by 12 card stack now. So it really does. It does fit our 12 by 12. There's a little bit cut here or like very tight area, but that's fine. Anyway, it's a base, so you can hide it later. So we know that our first layer is okay. We can fit it into 12 by 12. Now the second task is how to make the layer. So the same thing, we're going to click this and then duplicate. So once we duplicate, we're going to change it to color, to the color that we want, maybe cream, so that we can really see, you know, that this is the dual, the second tone or the front tone. Now we're going to slightly reduce its size, very small reduction, just to make sure that the, by the way, I'm only referring of the largest size here because we're not able to see the proportion anyway very much because it's all tied together. But once you cut it, you will really see, you know, that it's all proportion. So I have tried and tested this method many times already. So we are referring to this large petal. As you can see, the edges are equally and evenly distributed, and there's a slight peak of the color behind, which is very nice. And you can do that, or also you can make it larger by reducing it more that way. So it's gonna be looking like this. Larger portion here will gonna show up. So once you've done that, you can then go ahead and hide this one first and cut 6 sheets of this color, what color you might have in mind that you wanted to do for your first tone. By the way, the tutorial on how to assemble this flower will be on my YouTube video. And then after you cut 6 pieces of this, we can then go ahead and cut the second tone of our petals. So it's also going to be laid out in 12 by 12 card stack. So that's it, guys. So I hope this tutorial, you know, is helpful for your sizing. So until next time,